Hey guys, welcome back to the show. Today is December 30th, 2022, and this is the last news of this year. The news is sponsored by Analogue Spotlight, a group of photographic retailers and manufacturers who have joined together to support analog photographic media and help keep analog photography thriving worldwide. The brands are Cameradactyl, Kosmo Foto, Chroma cameras, Reveni Labs, RealitySoSubtle, Intrepid cameras, Pixl-ltr, Brooklyn film cameras, ONDU cameras, standard cameras, 20th century cameras, Pictoriographica, Analogue, Wonderland, Cinestill, large format camera store, Carmencita film lab, RH Designs, Imago, and Alvandi cameras. So, it's been a while since the news. I barely fit in the suit, so I guess Christmas, holidays, and so on have been treating me good. And this one's going to be a very long news edition. So, you can watch it in bits, you can skip it. There will be no chapters because I don't have the time. But let's go ahead and dive into it. There's a lot of good news in this last episode of the year. So first, we have Intrepid with a new website and products. So Intrepid has revamped their whole website and the basically logo website. They have new products from the Intrepid, which no longer is called Intrepid Mark anything. They've just kind of like updated it to be just the version. There's the Intrepid 4x5, 5x7, 8x10, but they also have the compact enlarger 35 and 120, Intrepid 4x5 enlarger with the improved light and controller, and also a studio. Then they have Intrepid pinhole lenses and Intrepid dark cloth and multiple other things. Also a DeVere or DeVere, I don't know, DeVere 504 enlarger head conversion. So if you have a DeVere, you can convert it. So lots of things happening at Intrepid. I highly recommend you visit the website. It actually looks beautiful. So good job to Max and the team. And yeah, good things coming from Intrepid. Then we have one thing that is not news, but I guess it's news. ColorPlus 200 had been rumored to be discontinued. The Alaris or Rochester, Kodak Rochester had kind of been like, oh, we're going to discontinue. I had not heard official word of this, but here at work, we have received ColorPlus 200 and I've seen it in other stores. So it is not discontinued, which is good news. Then we have some news from Negative Lab app. So Negative Lab app conversion software for Lightroom, so like a plugin for Lightroom. They're on version 2.4, and this is free upgrade for everybody. But Nate from Negative Lab Pro, Negative Film Lab, don't get it wrong, has done a version 3. The thing is, we've all had free updates from version 1, whatever was the first one, till version V 2.4. But if you want to upgrade to version 3, there's a $50, if I'm not wrong, upgrade. So V3 is much faster. It has like a bunch of things. You can go check it out. But yeah, basically there is version 2.4 for those who have paid so far. And there's version 3 for the people that want to upgrade. I don't really understand. I haven't checked exactly what happens if you buy it today. If you get version 3 or version 2 and then you upgrade to 3. I don't really know. I'm guessing he's got this solved, but yeah, just in case. Then we have Chroma cameras with the Snapshot rigid camera. We all know the Snapshot had these little like spacers and bellows, and you can change focal length from changing the rods, and the bellows would absorb that. Well, Steven has basically made the Chroma camera now have like the rigid version. So that is pretty cool. You can check it out. It's around 380 euros, and you can choose the focal length you want from 47 millimeters to 135 millimeters. And basically the cone comes out, and that is more like a global scope or travel wide or similar, but you can choose different ones. So that is out already. Then we have Kosmo Photo Agent Shadow briefcases ready. So, you know, when Kosmo Photo came out with Agent Shadow, it was the whole spiel about like spying and like, you know, they had a whole video. But Kosmo Photo made briefcases that had like a camera, some film, and like an old briefcase, stuff like that. So this is in stock. This was not in stock before. Before it was just available on the Kickstarter, but now it's on his website. You can go check it out. Then there's also a new film, instant film back called Staxback Back. And I'm going to literally open the link because I have seen it, but I can't tell you much. It basically is a mini Graphlok, so Mamiya RB67 and some other cameras are compatible. And it basically is Instax Mini for this back. So this is available. It is, you know, I can't tell you the price here yet, but it's basically an Instax back that you can, I think, already order. But it seems that it's automatically, it's 500 euros with shipping. So that is the price of the Staxback. I literally had notes on it, so I guess I didn't check it. Then we have Kodak with a i60 camera. So you haven't heard of this probably because Kodak is licensing the name to people around the world. Different things. One of them is Reto Project, and they've been doing these kind of like reloadable disposable cameras, which is what I call them, which are simple cameras, one shutter speed, maybe flash, and basically very, very, very basic camera. But every time they make like small iterations of that camera. So this is the Kodak i60 camera, and I think it's being promoted by Sinopromise, which, as you know, is the company that is taking care of paper and some chemical division of Kodak from China. So this is a Kodak i60. There's a video on YouTube. I don't know if it's available anywhere, probably on eBay already, but it's, you know, cheap, kind of like single speed. I think they're 1/125th of a second, but it's a camera that a lot of people seem to be interested in. So, you know, cheap and new. Then we have the Kiki Pan 320 ISO black and white film, 35mm. This is coming from Camera Film Foto in Hong Kong, and it probably is very similar to the Cat Labs 320. I don't know this for a fact, but I do know that there's like a entity of companies that kind of collaborate with Emulsions and share. So it's not like a white label kind of film, but I don't know. It's a 320 ISO black and white film, be in 35mm, available from Camera Film Foto. You can try it and let me know if you think it's the same or not. Then the big news, which I'm very late to this, but the news from Ilford or Harman, most, you know, let's call things by their name, Harman Technologies, who runs the Ilford Photo chemicals and paper and film, has announced the Kentmere 100 and 400 in medium format, 120 format. This is big news because in the spectrum of black and white film, prices have been going up, but there's always been low prices for, or lower prices, lower versions of film available. There's been Fomapan, there's been Kentmere, but Kentmere was only in 35 and bulk loading 35. So now this availability of Kentmere in 100 and 400 speed black and white makes it the cheapest Harman Technology black and white film in medium format. And this film, I've been told, and there's a whole briefing that I will probably end up making a video about, that is not the same quality in the emulsion as HP5, Delta, FP4, but it has the exact same quality control throughout the process of like scratches, emulsion damages, packaging, all the stuff that comes with Harman Technologies, which we all know is high quality. But the initial film has less silver, that's why it's cheaper. So this came out, I was at the factory literally when they were boxing it. I could not share anything. I actually took some rolls from the production line. No, you know, they gave them to me. I didn't steal anything. I tried, but they didn't let me. But basically, this film is now available in stores. It was announced in a way that it was already at everybody's store, so they announced it and it was available, which is a good thing. And I think they worked very hard to keep it a secret. I kept my mouth shut. I actually went with a co-worker to the factory and he posted pictures on social media and he literally photoshopped every single tag so you couldn't read Kentmere on the rolls. But super cool news. Very excited to try it out. I mean, it is obviously, like I said, not the same performance, but it's a high quality film or budget option, let's put it that way. And it makes the market more interesting for the lower prices of black and white. Then we have MS Optics with 2 lenses, and MS Optics comes out with lenses all the time, so there might be 4 more after I said this. But there's MS Optics 50mm 3.5 collapsible lens. So if you're, these are all Leica M mount, okay? Collapsible lens, and a 36, you heard it right, 36mm f1.3. So this is like a 35 1.4, but let's say we took the 0.1 and put it to the millimeters. In other news, we have Cinestill has launched the CS Light scanning light. So Cinestill has made this LED light, which has, I think, 3 settings, if I'm not mistaken, like warm, cool, and white light for scanning. This is made for DSLR mirrorless scanning, so digitizing your film. This light has been made compatible with products like Negative Supply and Veloy, and it's extremely inexpensive. And I'm talking, I think it's like 40 bucks. So this is a light, it has a little controller. It can sit on the table, so it's flat. It's not like the Relino that has knobs that you need all these things. And it's already been adapted to have like masks on top, so you can use your favorite holder, be it the mask from the holder from Veloy, or I think even the Negative Supply, like little film carriers, etc., etc. It's pretty cool because it is very bright, and this is really good. And they made a whole thing about how the different tones help you for scanning either slide or color negative. This is something I haven't tested myself yet, and I find it sounds a little, you know, I want to check it, but it is there. You can take advantage, test yourself. For the price, honestly, it's cheaper than like 4 rolls of film nowadays, so super cheap. Then there's also update from Cinestill and the 220 campaign for 400D. So when they announced for 220 film, they said, if we can't make it, we'll give you double the 120, which some people were okay with, some people probably were not okay with. But now they have actually announced that they haven't been able to do 220 film yet, and take it as that is, but they will be shipping double the amount of 120 film to people. And also they're still working and will be delivering 4x5 film for those who back that. So good and bad news in a way, but good for Cinestill for trying to do something out of the box, which is rare in the film, emotion, branding, marketing, production, whatever you want to call it. Film production, basically, industry. Then we have a Raspberry Pi light meter. So as you know, there's been an increase of hot shoe, cold shoe light meters in the recent years, from Reveni Labs to Kex to Duomo or Domo, I don't know how to say it, to others. This one is kind of like do it yourself. There's a whole video on YouTube on how to buy the stuff and do all the things and make the little light meter. It actually is kind of cool because it looks completely different to any other light meter I've ever seen. And if you're into tinkering, you can always try it out and see if it's any good or not. Then we have a very interesting announcement. Fujifilm, I love because I put Fuji, but it is still film, says sorry for the problems with supply on 135 film. So 35mm, which is called technically 135, is being back ordered by Fuji for some reason. They're not supplying enough or at all, quick question, but they're actually saying they're sorry. They made this very Japanese kind of announcement of like, we are very sorry for like the delays in the delivery of our 135 films, blah, 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 blah. That's it. No discontinuation, no price increases, just saying sorry that they're not shipping. But I have been seeing people shipping, or Fuji shipping C200, and it actually says made in Japan in the back. Because as you remember, there was a batch of Fuji Color 200, and it was made in the USA. So you can understand what you want from that. Then we have Lomography turning 30, so happy birthday to Lomography. You're just a few years younger than me. And they have announced a whole spread of special edition cameras for the 30th anniversary. You can go check them out, from the Diana, I think the Holga, and something else. And also Lomography has announced, even though this has been kind of like very, very quiet in the announcement, a Digitaliza tool. So this is a web app. So you go into lomography.tools/Digitaliza, and you can grab images that you've scanned with your phone or with a camera, drop them there and convert them. So they've kind of made like a free tool to convert your images. This is not surprising considering that Lomography makes the Digitaliza Plus or something that's made to be like done with your phone and all these things. So it's interesting to see them actually manufacture a tool for online converting that is free. So if you want a free converting tool, and I haven't tried it, I don't know if it's good or not, you can go check it out. Link is in the description. So then we have 7 artisans with a 35mm f2 version 2 Leica M lens. As you know, 7 artisans started with a 35 f2 lens when they started doing M mount lenses. Extremely inexpensive. I think it's $250, which for a Sumicron or Chinacron, like some people call it, is super cheap. As always, it comes probably with the little tool set so you can calibrate it, which if you don't have a digital Leica M, it's kind of annoying, but you can do it. It's a whole thing. But yeah, you can go check it out. And this one looks quite like more refined than the first version. Then we have Film Lab app with, not to mistaken with Negative Lab app, okay? I confuse these all the time because they're all kind of the same name. Film Lab app made by Abe Fedig has actually announced the version 2.5. So this is already on their website. You can, I think, purchase it. It's like a subscription model. I would have to double check because it used to be a purchase once and then it was subscription model. But this lets you do a whole bunch of stuff from converting with an iPad, with a phone, in batches, it crops, tools, all these things. So super cool things coming from Film Lab app. You can check it out. And he has like, I think, a free trial of X amount of time for this. So very interesting to see this coming from Film Lab app. Then Tony Matila. Tony is a coworker of mine. I'm not just saying this. He's a mechanic here at work and he's being interviewed by Lomography. So if you want to go check it out, it's kind of cool to see one of my coworkers being interviewed. And he does mostly Hasselblad, Mamiya RB, Rolleiflexes, and Nikon F2 service and some other models. But he is very good at what he does and young. And he's one of the new generation of mechanics that's coming out. So very interesting to see. Talking about mechanics and problems with cameras, we have Ricoh. The biggest announcement, I made a video about this, but the biggest announcement probably of the year is Ricoh, the group that owns Pentax and Ricoh, announcing the film camera project and with the Pentax brand. They made a whole declaration of intentions. They've said that they want to preserve the know-how of the old engineers that are retiring or retired, pass it on to new engineers and mechanics and all this, and create a lineup of cameras. So from a point and shoot to an SLR to a mechanical SLR and who knows what. They've said that it's going to be hard, which is obviously true, that they might not succeed, which is obviously possible, and that it is something they want to do. They've seen the interest, and they say this a lot in the video. There's a lot of interest from young people, that the market is dwindling because there's more broken cameras and less tools and mechanics and spare parts, which is true because I work at that and I can tell you for sure it's really hard and it's really cool. And the cool thing about it is not only they want to make new film cameras, is they want to create the whole ecosystem of warranties, spare parts, testing machinery, and hopefully know-how. So I hope there'll be a training program for whatever cameras they might release down the road, but very cool. Then next to that, we have news from Alaris saying they're going to increase the price of film by 17% in March 2023. This kind of throwing a rock far away into the pond because March 2023 is a couple months away. And this only has been coming from Kosmo Foto, who is a journalist by trade. And I would love to see the source because there's no source mentioned in the article. So take it as probably true because I doubt he would not say the truth, but there's no source and that always makes me a little doubtful. But yeah, seems Alaris is increasing price of film. Once again, film goes up, we all complain. It keeps going up, we keep buying it. Then we have a Psychic Blues film in medium format. So these are those films which I call kind of like artistic films or experimental films that have the film base already kind of like, how would I say, exposed in, you know, psychedelic looking lights and flares and color shifts and all this. but it's available on 120. So they're buying like 120 stock film and they're processing it however they do, and then you shoot it and you get special effects from, you know, like I said, special effects. You can go check it out. The link is in the description. Then we have Orwo announcing Cine color film and a 35mm update. One thing about Orwo, and I've shown my doubts about the project, and I might have to swallow my own words about it. But first, they're announcing things in different places. There's orwo.wtf, which is the acronym of something very different, which you shouldn't say. And there's orwo.shop. So they're updating in shop, and then they're updating in WTF, and then they're updating it. It's messy. I don't like that. I think brands should have one place. But they said that they're basically finishing converting film now. They're doing 1,000 to 2,000 rolls a day, if I'm not mistaken, that they are going to be delivering film. So please, once again, shout out to anybody that's ordered or pre-ordered their film and have received it. Not people that have bought it off the shelf, because it has been available off the shelf, like I mentioned before in a video, but people that have received it. I'm curious. But also cinema film. So 60mm, 35mm, but it has no remjet, and it's C41, not ECN2. So again, if you receive it, I would love to hear. Then we have Hayland with a new 8x10 enlarger. So Hayland Electronics makes darkroom and film photography electronics. And they made a 20x24 horizontal train enlarger for Art of Photo in St. Petersburg. And now they've made a new 8x10 standalone. So from the floor up, enlarger. Hayland makes it with an LED whole light, and the whole system is made by them. This is really cool because the only other people that I know were making enlargers in that size was De Beer. I don't think they're making them anymore, but I might be wrong. But it's cool to see Hayland making this. Obviously, this is going to be the price of an arm and a leg, because making something like this in a small market like it is going to cost an arm and a leg, because it takes time to make things of quality. But it's very exciting for those who shoot 8x10 and want to enlarge. It's probably the only new enlarger you can buy. Then we have Reveni Labs with a dip and dunk project. So Reveni Labs, sponsor of the show, has hinted, announced, pre-announced, I don't know how you want to call it, a dip and dunk system. So if you don't know what dip and dunk is developing film by what it means, like dip and dunk. So like basically film comes into chemicals and then comes out and then goes into other chemicals. And it usually is done by racks that go like forward. But Reveni's made kind of like a tabletop one with a small yield. It does 2 rolls of 35 or 1 of 120, which is kind of interesting to me. That's so much small yield. And then it kind of comes in and goes out and turns in a turret. So this is announced. It will probably be a crowdfunding campaign. It'll probably have a price that's not meant to break the bank and so on. My main concern with this is, first, the yield is very low. Second, I wonder if the market is ready for something that's kind of quirky and interesting. Most people are used to the Jobo stuff and the new developing machines, but they're prohibitive. Also, Jobo is pretty expensive. But we'll see. It's cool to see Reveni pushing, you know, the Reveni way, which is not always what I would think is my way. But like I said, not my opinion to tell him what to do. Then we have Instax Wide Shot. This is by Gregory Hervelin. I might be saying that wrong. He's basically grabbed the big shot, which, as you know, is the big shot is the camera that Andy Warhol took those portraits of famous people and stuff, and shot FP 100C or Polaroid 665, so like the peel apart film. And he's basically chopped the camera, which I guess is theoretically useless almost nowadays, and stuck an Instax wide, and now you have the hybrid. You can shoot close-up portraits of people with Instax wide film. So it's pretty cool. You can check it out. It's a personal project. He makes a couple every now and then. It's on Instagram. I'll leave the link below. Then an interesting development, Zenit, the Russian manufacturer of lenses, or Ukrainian, I don't even know, Ukrainian, Russian, wherever it is announcing a new 21mm f2.8 for Leica M. That's all I can tell you. No other thing. I don't have a link. I think their website is down. I saw it on social media from someone I follow. No other news. But yeah, cool. Then we have Double Film. Double Film makes also what I call, like I said, artistic kind of specialty films, is announcing their specialty films in 120. They have stuff like bubblegum film that's like pinkish with bluish. I think they have one called Pacific, which is blue, and all this stuff. And they are announcing in 120. It's available now. Plus, also, they have announced their own 35-400 ISO color film without remjet. So kind of like a 400D-ish film. No idea where it's done, no idea where it's coming from, but it's cool to see more film available because, like I said, more film, better for everybody. Then we have Staxback with the C41 tablets. Once again, website that's not updated. This is coming from my friends from Silver Game Classics. They made a whole article about C41 tablets from Staxback. This, I guess, will be launched soon or is in process or it's pre-release or I don't know what it is, but it's pretty cool. This means it's C41, but not in powder and not in liquid. It's in tablets, kind of like aspirin. So think of like your tube of water, you put your aspirin, Staxback, and bubbles come out and your developer's ready. That's what I'm guessing it's like. But you probably have to buy Silver Game Classics if you want to know about it. And then we have one of my Patreon supporters and friend, Dictronics, coming out or having in stock. The Pixl-ltr densitometer is back in stock. So if you don't know what this is, it's a little nice, neat device, which is a densitometer. So it does reflective and basically transmission and reflective reading. It's a small little device and you can read your negatives for the zone system, for calibrating for printing or anything like your developing process. If you want to check if your actual film speed is 400 or 320 or 500 ISO, depending on what you're using. This is a cool gizmo. Densitometers are not really made that much anymore. There's Hayland with, their devices, and now there's Dictronics with the Pixl-ltr densitometer, and it's back in stock. So cool things. So yeah, that is the news for today. It is extremely long. My goal for next year is going to be to do the news back every week. Hopefully I can do it. But thanks for everybody for all the support for all this year. It's been a very challenging year to make content, not because anything else, but because I work at a camera store and then I talk about cameras. So it's getting a little bit sometimes hard, but I made a whole update on my Patreon. If you are a supporter, it's open there for anybody to read, explaining my fails and what I hope to do next year for the community there and for the community here on YouTube. But yeah, my goal is to continue making videos, continue making the news, and hopefully having you guys watch and support like you've done before. So yeah, thanks to everybody. It's been a great year. I can't complain at all, except for my lack of doing the videos I wanted to do, but that's my own thing. So yeah, thanks for watching. As always, don't forget, there's an email below. You can send an email with any information, and it would be grateful if I forgot something. See you in the next one.